Welcome back everybody to the last video for this vehicle building. Hopefully I can get it done. I'm gonna make this video like maybe 15-20 minutes if I can, so I'm gonna do a lot of cuts. So try to take with me if you can. If you have any questions, you can ask in the comments. So for building the back, it's gonna be really easy. I think at least the easiest part, only because the front takes so much detail. People notice the front, the back not so much. And with this, I don't think I did any crazy curves, so it'll be pretty straightforward. So I'm kind of just gonna explain a few things and get right into it and kind of use some cuts like I said. So in building the back, what you want to do is you really just want to use a block. Every vehicle I do, I use just one block and I union it down like a crap ton, a metric crap ton. So I'm gonna go with my basic dimensions of the car's bottom and the sides, and then the top I'm gonna just keep it at what I want it, a little over, that way I can carve down what I don't need. I'm gonna extend this all the way to the length of the blueprint. That way I can use the entire blueprint, so I make sure I'm getting all the parameters. If I don't need the extra stuff, I'll cut it out. And then from there, I'm gonna just pretty much resize the line all the way here. And then from there, I can see I have some gappage, but that's expected in these kind of vehicles. For this vehicle's intensive purposes only, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just make them touch only because there's no point of me making like a little like some of the other vehicles I have gaps in it, because I've done things to make the gaps look normal, but I'm not going to do that. Here it's a pretty straightforward vehicle, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a couple of cuts and carves, basic ones. I'm just going to kind of cut out the back here, and I'm going to make this gray outline on top, and then just curve this, and that's about it. And then I'll come back and show you guys what I have. Okay, so now I did make a couple different changes than I said I would do. So instead, I did not separate the top from the bottom, but I did go ahead and just do the box, the wheel well, some other things. So I'm going to kind of explain to you what I'm going to do next. So in order, the easiest way I've found is that whenever you're doing this back part, it's easier to separate this, like I already unioned it, but like these top parts from the rest of it. So kind of stick with me here. We're going to try and move a little fast here. So what I'm going to do now is separate the bumper, because I'm going to make the bumper completely unit separately, but also acknowledge the little gap they have right here. It's little details you kind of care about, because on vehicles like this, they just stick with me here. So for the dimension, I'm going to kind of go over that real quickly. How I know how far to go down, I went to the top of this gray line right here, and it'll make sense later why I do that. So just kind of, like I said, stick with me. And then as far as why I went out, I just kind of went and matched these lines as best as I could in the back. And then for the gap, I just went and took a wheel well, my little wheel well negate, put it in there, and I moved it up by 0.1, and then moved to the inside by 0.1, using that negate up my big block. So I'm going to go from here now and make a curve that follows this line as best as possible. I'm not going to do this part. I'm going to show you guys why later. We're gonna pretend like this doesn't exist and kind of keep the curve going. So a curve kind of like this, and then we're going to trace our best, and I'll kind of come back when I get that done. Okay, so I went ahead and I pretty much just took the curve I made, which is kind of like this, and then for the most part it just traces right here, kind of like that. And I trace it around just the back portion like this, because I'm doing it in a section. You'll see exactly why in a second. So now that I did that part, I got to make sure it curves into this, and I got to round the corner. And I got to make sure I don't, my best not to, and it doesn't matter if there's a little gap here, we'll go back over that later. But I'm going to make sure I do my best not to clip into this part of it. Because remember, the bumper only goes so much, so if it's so rounded here, the bumper won't extend all the way to it. So we got to make sure we keep that part out of the next part of the curves. You'll see what I mean in just a second. Alright, so for this next part, I pretty much want to work on the corners. So don't have to ignore the amount of parts it takes to do this, because the more complex you make your vehicles, the more you're going to do that, so it doesn't really matter. Did I do that right? Okay, so the biggest takeaway I want from this is when you're working on the back of the vehicle, you do it in sections. I never do it all at once, even with my SUVs and sedans, only because there's so many complex parts, right? So what I did first was I worked on flattening the back. Now I'm working on the corners, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do the sides in just a second. But before I do the corners, I might make a couple changes, because like I said, I'm not actually working on this top part. I'm imagining this like little extended part doesn't exist, right? And I do that because it makes it easier, only in the sense that I don't have to worry about incorporating all of that into the union. And then so instead, now I kind of have, it's not as smooth as I want it, but if I wanted it smoother, what I could do is I could pretty much just go ahead and round the entire side of it, and it completely, so only reason I say don't worry is because imagine I remove these parts right here, right? You can see how much different the curves are. So I had to do a little deeper of a curve to kind of get the angle that I wanted for the tail light. And then for this top part, I had to do a little wider of a curve to get this outer part, which is why I'm saying it doesn't matter about the curve, because you're still going to put this top bar over it. So I'm probably going to fiddle around with this a little more to see if I do like how it is so far. It's decent. I might just leave it, to be honest. But if I wanted it more rounder, I could. So we'll end up seeing if I change it or not. And if I don't change it and y'all want to see me do other kind of curves and stuff like that, we can make a video on that. Alright, so I'm deciding I'm just not going to move anything about it. What's going to happen is now to make this last back part, it's actually really easy, I promise. So I'm going to take a brick and I'll kind of, just about line it the best way I can. I think that's pretty much good. Yeah, that'll be alright. So what I'm going to do is, and that's going to bother me. Okay, give me 1 second, I'll be back. Okay, so now I can use this right here to bring this down, and the farther it goes out is right here. So I'm gonna just trace this, except for I don't really care for this extra part. Okay, I don't know how to explain this, but pretty much if you look at a photo online, like I have right here, this right here is like an extra part for the tailgate. I'm not trying to put too much detail in this vehicle, to be completely honest, because you don't always need to, especially for who I'm making this for. So I'm gonna pretend like I don't see that. So imagine if this line kind of goes straight through here is what you're looking for. So I'm going to kind of lift it a little more, I think. Okay, that's too much, clearly. And this right here goes straight across, so that means it's too low. So I need to bring it down a little more, or too high, I meant. So if I come across here, it kind of would curve nicely. So I'm going to kind of, yeah, just like that's what I want. So now I can kind of take this, and I'll show you guys what I'm going to do. Also, depending on your vehicle, so I noticed on mine's, on the corner, it kind of comes out and it just kind of turns and goes straight. So I don't need to add a curve coming all the way like a running start like this kind of has. I can kind of just bring it out, bring it straight, and kind of just do a little small curve on it, because the way the Ford F-150s are designed, well, I can't talk. The way the Ford F-150s are designed, I don't really need to do too much curvature on the tailgate, which is nice for me, because I mean, I don't want to say less work necessarily. It is, but at the same time, I also don't have to worry about what's the word? I don't have to worry about doing just too many parts and unions, which is what you want to. I mean, like, yeah, you union everything when you're building a car, obviously, but the less you have to work with, the less triangles and everything you're working with, and usually it's for the best. You don't want to be working all that stuff. So, to my best of my abilities, I'm going to try and replicate this curve. If I can't, I'm going to come back and do some unioning, so it's not that big a deal. So I'll be back when I get that entire part done, and I can show you guys what I'm doing next. Okay, so now that I have most of this done, it comes to kind of just doing the easier parts, which I like to think it's easier parts at least. I guess to each their own. So I'm going to be able to take this right here, which we've been using for the entire side negate this entire time. I know I've had problems with kind of this. Okay, so we're going to do that. I'm going to union the entire thing so I can make my life easier. And then from there, I'm going to start making some curves to make this corner less pointy, because we don't like pointy things. They just don't look good. We're going to do it from, let's see. Try to do it without messing it up as best as possible. Oh, okay. We have to take this out now. Look at it. Kind of compare. Okay. So yeah. Oh wait, no, I needed that still. The blue extended a little bit too far out, but actually we can work with that, and I have an idea. So we're going to just keep going like this. kind of just like this. And then I'm going to bring one of these and kind of straighten it up. That's not what I wanted. Okay, hold on. Give me 1 second, I'll be right back. Okay, cool, so we got that now. Let's gotta locate this right here on the other side, which shouldn't take too terribly long. Perfect. And then I can just kind of union these. Oh, dang, here we go. And then we don't make sure we don't have this thing selected. That's not what I wanted to select. Nice. Thank you, Roblox. Okay, cool. Select all that stuff right there. Wait for it to. Oh, hurry! My mouse is stuck in the screen too. I love that. Hopefully it didn't take too long to union. I will be back once it finishes. Oh, it will let me tab out. I'll be back when it's done unioning. Okay, so I ended up going to doing the gate 2 just to make it a little easier on time. And now we should be able to, I hope this will work, actually, I'm not going to lie. We're going to see how the curve comes out. We're going to see if we like it or not. But for the most part, this is what's going to make the curve break or make or break, I guess. So let's see how this comes out. Okay, cool. It's kind of rough, I can't lie. Give me 1 second to fix it, I'll be right back. Okay, cool. So I also have this part right here I'm going to use. Now that I fixed everything. And that's so I can get my nice little curve back. I hope it won't take too long to union, but I'm assuming since it's a complex union now, it's probably going to take a second, so I'll be right back once it's finished unioning. Okay, now we have it, and this is what we're, what the, yeah, I'm going to fix this again, hold on. Okay, now we're here, we're going to be at, so now what's important is getting this kind of cut out of it, and we're just going to do kind of like a little, it shouldn't actually be too hard, it should take maybe 30 seconds to kind of demonstrate real quick. So the purpose of this brick I'm going to put down is so I can know where the ceiling is. So I was thinking, okay, if I turn this, how do I know how far I should go in when it meets that right there? So I need to bring a little bit more. Like that. That is how I know where it should meet at. I'll just be back when it's done unioning. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like how that looks, so I might. I'm probably not gonna keep that. I'm not gonna lie. But that's pretty much how I make the back of my vehicle. And at this point now, all I would do is, let's see something. I see where the tail light goes to. Only problem is some of it does. Actually, I will keep this because I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna curve it. I'll come back and show you what I mean. Okay, so I did go ahead a little bit more, and I finished making it a little bit more evened out. And I just traced out the tail lights and pretty much got them so we have them here. And I just went and fixed the color. So other than that, that's pretty much the back in a nutshell. I mean, all I think I've done off camera was, like I said, finish the back, union this together, and split it up, union this and split it up, make the tail lights, and this is the gray part, which is nothing you can't do with some simple union negating. It's stuff I've done before. And then only thing I'm going to do now is pretty much detail the tail lights, detail the bumper, and then sometimes I like to go in and, hold on, let me see if I can, there we go. Sometimes I do like on my vehicles to go and do like this is supposed to be like a spray and bed liner like you see in vehicles sometimes. I made the truck a little differently when I was kind of figuring out how I wanted to do my tailgate, so ignore that, but this is supposed to be like a spray and bed liner. And so pretty much I might do that just so you don't see the color of the truck, but I might not though, so we'll see. other than that, though, if we bring the tailgate down, you have all this to work with. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to lower the bumper right here and then kind of carve it out. So I'm going to come back and do that and show you what I have, and then from there I'll kind of just I'll probably just finish the bumper and come back and show you guys what I have, and then from there I'll pretty much just finish up. So there's not much to do. The tail lights are something simple to do as well. It just yeah, I mean, simply put, you negate what you do and you don't want, and then yeah, that's pretty much the back of the vehicle. I'm gonna go do that and I'll come back and we'll just go from there. Okay, so I did some more work off camera. So pretty much all I did was so I can kind of show. I made a little back curve the same way I did with the front when I make my curves. Following the back to get a little better. Oh, I don't like that. To get a little better curvature, which came with the tail lights, and I kind of had to fix it up again. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. I went ahead and just separated the tailgate to kind of make two parts. All I did was took a little. I mean, it really wasn't that bad. Something y'all could also replicate. Just kind of follow the outline here, make a little indent, and then just make a trace outline to kind of just cut out the outer gray parts from the inner gray parts. Made it a color. Again, super simple, something y'all can do. And then I just made a bottom curve like this that kind of goes all the way around the bottom, and then did that. So that's all done off camera, really. I also made a little bit of spray and bed liner, and then I also just made it a little. I already have that in the model. It did. So it's a tailgate and a model, and so pretty much that is basically everything complete. I just gotta add door handles, and yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be doing any crazy detail with the back adding like Ford or anything, just cause. But other than that, that's basically it for this vehicle.